Welcome to the Global Peace Film Festival Lives Online Conversation 2021 Festival Edition. Please join me, Kelly Devine, the Artistic Director, and Nina Strike, the Executive Director, in conversation with Tulu Kasale behind the film Remember Me, which is a part of our Free for All Shorts program, which you can see on the Global Peace Film Festival website beginning September 27th through October 3rd. We also have a very limited in-person schedule, which begins September 21st and runs through September 26th. All the information regarding scheduling, descriptions, and other details and upcoming events can be found on the Global Peace Film Festival website, peacefilmfest.org. And now let's welcome Tulu. Welcome. We're so happy to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here as well, and I look forward to this conversation.
Yes, so do we. And again, thank you, Tulu. And you're joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. So, so we're really glad to have to be able to have this conversation. So please tell us about the film.
Yes, without trying to give too much away about the documentary, I would first say that the documentary, the aim of the documentary is really to educate and create awareness about the plight of people who have been forced to flee their homes as a result of armed conflict in the northeast of Nigeria. One thing that the documentary does is that it highlights the experiences of people living in camps and host communities for displaced people. And you get to see some of the people behind the numbers, because so many times we talk about the numbers, but we rarely get to see the people. So you see the people, you get to hear their stories, you get to listen to their stories firsthand about their experiences. And for about 30 minutes, you get to view the world through their eyes. The documentary also shows their strength and resilience through the process of really trying to rebuild their lives. And something that I'm really excited about in the documentary is that it also demonstrates the solutions that would empower displaced people to improve their state of mind, to help them earn a living, and to help them end their protracted displacement. So I wouldn't say much more, but know that it's an inspiring documentary, and I hope you go out to watch it, because there's just so much in store to learn about humanity in the documentary.
Agreed. I think anyone who does watch it, and I encourage everyone watching this interview to seek the film out. You'll be well rewarded. But Tulu, can you tell us a little bit about how you became connected to this story and what attracted you? What's important about this story?
So I think I'll start by talking about how I came about, what attracted me to this story. I mean, it's an interesting story, because about 5 years ago, at the time, I was working in investment advisory in Lagos, Nigeria, and I was driving to work. Lagos, in the usual rush hour traffic. Lagos is known for its traffic. And, the news segment came up, and they were discussing the conflict in the northeast of Nigeria and in the southwest of Nigeria. And they were discussing the fact that men, women, and children were fleeing their homes, and they talked about the difficulties they were facing, just essentially to find a place to stay. And that got me, because for one, I was surprised that I hadn't heard much about it in Nigeria, and I live in Nigeria. And at that moment, I knew that I wanted to do something about it, but I just wasn't really sure how. And I remember getting to my office that morning and still being in my car. And at that point, I was working as a research analyst, and I asked myself one simple question. I said, what skill do you have in your hands right now that can help make a difference? So I turned to research, and this was about the end of 2015. And I think, I published my first report titled An Integrated Approach to Rehabilitating Internally Displaced Persons with Dignity. And that, so essentially, I would say everything started from there. And you asked an important question, that why is it important to tell the story, or why is this story important? Internal displacement is a global humanitarian crisis, and every single day, people are forced to flee conflict or persecution and disaster, and they become displaced within their own countries. So over 50 million people across the world are living in internal displacement in countries like Afghanistan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Colombia, Nigeria, Syria, Sudan, Yemen, and many of them have lost loved ones. They've lost their homes. They've lost their livelihood. And when I say over 50 million, again, these are not just numbers. They are real people. They are people just like you and me, and they need sustainable forms of humanitarian and development support to survive. So I would say it is an important story to tell, because it is a story about our shared humanity. It could happen to any one of us, but we need to tell their stories and their voices need to be heard.
One of the things that you said just now struck me as being so aligned with our festival mission, which is to provide ideas and models for people to take into their own lives and back to their own communities to make the world a more peaceful and just place. And I just loved that phrase that you said. You listened to this news report and that you asked yourself, what is the one skill that you have that can make a difference? And I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that, about how you are making a difference, not only with the film, but beyond.
I would break it into a few pieces. I'll first talk about the interventions, which I think are very critical to picking up information about the people. So I supported them by providing humanitarian and development support, going to the camps, providing psychosocial support to help them improve their state of mind. So counseling, one-on-one discussions and focus group sessions. I also provided the girls and the women with dignity kits. So just items such as sanitary towels and underwears. So just so that they wouldn't be exploited by men in the camp when they needed to buy these items because they really can't afford it. I also supported them with skills acquisition and business startup grants. And one of the most interesting or exciting stories for me from that is that one of the girls who received a hairdressing training as well as a business startup grant has been able to leave the camp, and she now owns her own hairdressing salon with her friend and has a little house close to the camp. So that's just exciting. And also, I also support policy. I try to influence both domestic and global policies around forced displacement. And my objective with that is really to ensure that the policies are focused not just on humanitarian support, but ensuring that there's enough empowerment of their mind and of the skills so that they can improve themselves and they can leave the camp with dignity. In 2019, I wrote I published my first book about internally displaced people, and that was really good because it was the first time that people got to hear first time these stories from different people, and it was a project that I was really honored to be part of, and so I continue to engage with the people in the camp because I believe that we can't effectively provide solutions for people without first understanding what they're going through, and without first, we can't walk in their shoes, but we can hear from them firsthand what it feels like to walk in their shoes. And and I continue to just advocate essentially for their well-being, for their overall well-being at high-level meetings. I've been invited by the WHO, the World Bank, and the UK government to speak at various meetings. And my objective at those meetings always is to bring the perspective of the people. It's not about what I think is right. It's not about my solutions, but it's about what the people need.
And I think that is something that really comes through in the film. So I really hope that everyone listening to this interview checks out Remember Me for those reasons, that you obviously approached all of the people that you were in conversation with respect and with the knowledge that they could be more than simply displaced people, that they could take control of their lives.
And I think that's extremely important. You know, so many times when people think about internally displaced people, it's important to remember that they're people first, and they have dreams, and their dreams are still valid. So they need to be treated as that, they need to be respected, and we need to understand that they know what is good for them as well. And just as my dreams are valid, their dreams are valid, and we need to be able to listen and harness the skills that they have to ensure that the future that they hope to see, we're able to give that to them. But the difference between where they are today and their ability to achieve that future depends on what we do today. And that is what the documentary is about, and everything, the books, the policy influences is all about ensuring that we do what we need to do today to get them to where they need to be in the future.
That is such an important point. So when people are watching either this interview or the film, what can they do themselves to support your work?
So there's a lot people can do. First is helping to create awareness just by talking about it and by sharing. I think that when you share, people underestimate the impact of somebody just asking a question. People want to know more, because I do realize that not everyone knows about internally displaced people or understand the impact. And, you know, so they can share information that they get. They can also speak to their MPs, legislators, or other representatives in their countries about ensuring that the funds that come from their countries to support IDPs also support rebuilding their lives with dignity. So they should push for ensuring that funding goes to psychosocial support, funding goes to skills acquisition, funding goes to education and health, and business startup grants, for example, so that you can empower the people. And for the women, of course, their safety, dignity kits. I think it's important to ensure that funding looks at a holistic approach that focuses on empowering them rather than keeping them in aid dependence in the camps. And they can also volunteer by donating their time, for example, providing mentorship and counseling support. People can donate books, they can donate dignity kits for the girls and women, they can donate research support. So I think there's a lot that people can do to help in their own little way. Everybody should just find what they feel comfortable with and do it.
And finally, what's next for you?
I would say that my focus remains driving both domestic and global policies. The responses to internal displacement should be focused on achieving self-reliance towards ending their protracted displacement. So for me, it will be to continue to support research and policy papers that influence those sort of domestic and global policies, and also helping to design and implement solutions that are focused on helping displaced people to achieve their self-reliance and to help end their prolonged displacement. I think that will be it for me.
That's such marvelous work, Tulu. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for sharing your documentary with the festival and with our audiences. Please, if you would like to learn more about Tulu Kasali's work, please go to myinternallydisplacedpersons.org. That is myinternallydisplacedpersons.org. And remember to see the film Please check out peacefilmfest.org between September 27th and October 3rd for the opportunity to watch the film as a part of our Free for All Shorts program. And please do check out that same website for all of our other programming opportunities. Thank you again, and we'll see you at the next Glow.